What comes to your mind when you think of World Heritage recognized by UNESCO in Ethiopia? Aksum, Lalibela, Gondar, and other 6 more World Heritage of Ethiopia, including the one recently added, the Conso Cultural Landscape. But ask yourself, have you ever acquainted with the 12 literary heritage registered by UNESCO? If not, this program is for you. Age-long manuscripts are one of the oldest physical heritage of Ethiopia. Over 500,000 parchment books have been produced and written over the past 1,500 years of documented history in Ethiopia.
The history of Ethiopian literary heritage goes back to the 4th century. Before that, in the Aksumite period, there are many symbols on stone, on grave, and on different materials, in harder materials. And after that, after the 4th century, Ethiopia started on the copying the literary heritage on soft materials, such as parchment. In Ethiopia, widely used on writing on parchment.
Manuscript in Ethiopia dating back to the newly discovery shows that the Gospel of Garima. This is the only ancient manuscript. The only ancient manuscript found here in Ethiopia. The place is known as the monastery of Abba Garima in the Tigray region. The manuscript in the 7th century, the 7th century manuscripts. It is only the oldest and the ancient manuscripts.
The largest single collector and archive of manuscript in Ethiopia, the Ethiopian National Library and Archive, have well over 1,000 copies of this manuscript and over 10,000 of their microfilm documents. UNESCO, under its program of Memory of the World Register, has given due recognition for 12 manuscripts and archives of Ethiopia. The registration has undertaken with the objective of protecting, accessing, and keeping the document cognizant of their influence to humanity.
The main criteria is what is the influence of that literary heritage on the world, because it should have some impact on the world, on the humanity.
This manuscript and archives registered by UNESCO are categorized based on their contents as historical, biblical, and archival documents.
We can categorize the Ethiopians, the 12 registered documents. We can religious manuscripts and archives, and governmental archives, and also historical manuscripts. For example, the history of Minilik and the history of Kubra Nagas is part of the history, and others are part of the religion, or it is biblical manuscript. We can tell them as biblical manuscript. For example, the Park Gospel is part of the Bible, and the Epistle of Saint Paul is part of the Bible, and also the Psalms, it is part of the Old Testament. It is there, and also the Passion Week, the manuscript which is read on the Passion Week is also, it is religious manuscripts.
Categorization of manuscripts are studied at least by 3 fields of studies.
First of all, to know the exact date of the manuscripts, it comes first. Then to know the exact date of the manuscripts, there is known as colophon in the field of the science. Colophon means the date of the manuscripts. At the end of the manuscript, there should be the governor or the emperor or the author. Then reading that one and judge. You can judge this manuscript belongs to this century. There is another science, codicology. Codicology means studying the goat skin, the parchment by itself. There is a science, another science. it seems to be related to philology, but it is far from philology. There is codicology, and the second one, the category. Codicology means scientifically the manuscript, the goat skin used in the parchment should be known through the laboratory. It belongs to in which century, in which date. This is known as codicology, and the professionals are known as codicologists. And the third one is, if there is no opportunity to know the category, the third one is the paleography. Paleography means the writing system, the shape of the alphabet. And through knowing the shape of the alphabet, the manuscript should be dated.
መጽሐፈ ልደቱ ለኢየሱስ ክርስቶስ ወልደ ዳዊት ወልደ አብርሃም
The 14th century four gospel, written on vellum into 2 columns in Greek language, is one of the ancient manuscripts registered by UNESCO as a world heritage.
ይሄ መጽሐፍ ከሌሎቹ ሁሉ ለየት የሚያደርገው እዚህ ላይ እንደምናየው
This book is different from others as we look at it here. There is writing in Arabic and Coptic languages. The Coptic language was an Egyptian language before the introduction of the Arabic. It is an ancient language like the Ge'ez in Ethiopia. The middle one is an Arabic language, as it is scholarly translated by Taddese Tamurat in his book entitled Church and the State. It refers to the land tenure and land exchange during that time.
Written in the Berhaik monastery, this parchment is designated in the first level of calligraphy of the Ethiopic alphabet. It has bold, neat and triangular shape of alphabet. The parchment has introductory pages that depict the traditional painting style of Ethiopia, calendars and others. Unlike modern manuscript, this one has a list of contents and decorations at the beginning of each gospel.
It is also the special characteristics of the ancient manuscripts we never find in the modern, the 17th and 18th century manuscripts. We never find this type of characteristics. The content, the list of content, and the decoration, one ornamental part of the manuscript is a special kind of the special feature of that period. So these 4 gospels has a list of content and also the ornamental designs in the left and right part of the pages, on each page.
Having 554 pages, the 4 gospels have footnotes and other marginal notes that gives remarkable feature to this ancient manuscript.
Marginal notes are very, very, very essential and important for the study of history. They fill the gap of the study of history, especially in the medieval period. We never find writings, documents. So this gap is filled by the marginal out of the manuscripts.
The Epistle of St. Paul is another 15th century manuscript written on vellum into columns in Greek language. Sisai, who has made his research on this particular manuscript, evokes that it has a different style of language compared with other manuscripts written on the same subject.
Epistle of Paul is a special manuscript in the study of philology. For example, philology is the study of the manuscripts, manuscripts by whom they are written and when they are written. So, in the study of philology, the manuscripts of Paul, St. Paul, is very, very essential. For example, this manuscript is erased and corrected by the latter time. It is also one necessity to study the internal part or the internal content of the manuscript.
Produced from volume of horses and wooden cover, the homily of the Passion of our Lord is one of the 15th century manuscripts recognized by UNESCO.
ይህ መጽሐፍ መጽሐፈ ግብረ ሕማማት ይባላል። መጽሐፈ ግብረ ሕማማት ማለት
This book is called Homily of the Passion of our Lord. It is a book used for prayer and reading during the Passion Week in the major fasting season. Its sources are the Old and New Testaments and other books. What makes this book very special is it is written on horse skin and it might be found only in Ethiopia. The writings are bold, clear and neat. The letters are in bold in color. It's beautiful handwriting. Reading books are usually written in bold, while rhythmic books are written in miniature or in small letters as they are song books.
በስመ አብ ወወልድ ወመንፈስ ቅዱስ አሐዱ አምላክ ዘለዓለም በረድ
Peculiar feature of this manuscript is it is made by the skin or the velum of horse. We never find other manuscripts which it is very rare. So Ethiopian monks or Ethiopian clergies, they never use other they use domestic animals or domestic animals for the preparation of parchment or vellum.
Ethiopia has many more manuscripts which are kept in various churches, monasteries and mosques, which can be used for the purpose of research and study. The Ryun is undertaking his PhD study in one of the ancient manuscripts called Angar Falasfa, or Book of the Philosophers. He reminds the significance of this manuscript and a relation to research.
The only things from the point of research in related to the manuscript is to bring Renaissance, not to bring globalizations. You know that when the foreigners came to Ethiopia, to know not the globalization or not their civilization's copy here, you understand me? But they like to know the Aksumite kingdom, how it was. You understand me? Just like that, when we study about the manuscripts, first we know the simple life of our ancestors, and also through this research, simply we would like to repeat their lifestyle. This is another kind or another side of civilizations.
He further put the manuscript as the manual for the interpretation of the civilization in Aksum, Lalibela, Gondar, or whatever other civilization in Ethiopia.
These manuscripts are as a manual to build the rock-hewn churches, to build the Aksum monument, to build the wall of Fasil. This is what our fathers think.
Written in 1513 by John Potkin in Greek language, with an introduction in German language, the Psalm of David is one of the common prayer books in Ethiopia. The book, printed without changing its calligraphy, is considered as one of the first and the oldest printed book in Ethiopia.
This is part of the literary heritage. What is the speciality of this manuscript, this document is, it is the first printed materials in Ethiopia.
Other books registered by UNESCO under its Memory of the World Register are historical books such as The History of Menelik II and Tarikh Negest, or History of Kings, among others.
History of Menelik, this is completely historical materials, and also Fatah Negest, it is justice of kings. It is canonical book or law of